Hello and welcome to Connect, the weekly podcast of the California MBA featuring one-on-one interviews with movers and shakers in the mortgage industry. I'm Susan Milazzo, CEO of the California MBA, and I'm very happy that you could join us today. Before I get to today's guest, I'd like to thank our Connect podcast sponsor, Incelerate.
Thanks, Susan, and thanks for listening. This is Josh Wren, CEO and founder of Incelerate. We're grateful for our partnership with the CMBA and are committed as a company to help lenders close more loans. We do this with our customer experience platform that has a CRM, lead management, marketing, automation, robust content library, desktop and mobile applications. We do this to help you engage and stay connected to your current borrowers, referral partners, past borrowers, and potential new ones. If you want to find out why we're the fastest growing CRM provider in the mortgage industry, please reach out to us and ask for a demo.
Okay, and with that brings us to today's guest. I'm very happy to be welcoming Hassan Rashid from Tavant. Hassan, welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
I've worked with so many people at Tavant. It's always nice to meet somebody new and have you involved in our activities here. So I always start off with a little bit of background, kind of how you got into this industry. So you want to give us a little bit of your background and how you started in this industry.
Sure. Thank you. Something real quick. So I entered this industry in 1983. That was a while back. So it's
back.
Yeah, it's I don't like saying it. It's probably over 35 years. So I've seen this industry go through a lot of different cycles, and we all understand that this is a cyclical industry. It is. I still believe that it is still the single most important purchase decision a person makes in their lifetime. I still strongly believe that home ownership is so precious for everyone, now more important than ever, with a lot of people working from home or anywhere, so on. But it is so I believe that I've actually personally taken on as a mission for my life to sort of drive for a better, actually improve this business, right? So I've spent a number of years with Freddie Mac. I actually led the development and the rollout of Loan Prospector while I was at Freddie. From then on, I moved on to build another company. So, got the startup bug and started a company called Realtor.com. So focused on the real estate side of the business with three others, and then built a couple of other companies. And so it's really a personal mission of mine to work with all the different stakeholders in this business, whether it be the agencies, whether it be the regulatory agencies, the government, the MBA. I've pretty much dealt with everyone over the years to really improve this industry, right? Reduce the cost, improve the consumer experience, get people into housing that they need, that they can afford, and I believe everybody deserves to own a home. So That's really my perspective, and has been my lifetime mission working in this industry.
Gosh, I can tell you, it's wonderful to have people like you in the industry, Hassan. From the state association, the national MBA's perspective, we're all trying to better the industry as well, right? Because like you say, being a homeowner is for most people, the single most important way that you can build generational wealth and to have stability, financial stability. So very important, and it's great to be working with people like you that bring such a breadth of knowledge to this industry.
Well, we are a big fan of the CMBA and the MBA, and we try to do whatever we can, contribute as much as we can, and we're always happy to do that.
Yeah, well, you always do. Tavant's a big supporter, and we are grateful for that. Of course, now you've seen your fair share of cycles in the mortgage industry from a few different perspectives, and 22, is a tough year. What are your clients sharing with you their top priorities for the balance of 22 and looking forward into 2023?
So yes, having been in this for so long, Last 2 years, I think I would consider those an anomaly. Those are not really sort of, the thing is, what really amazes me is of all the executives, I spend a lot of time with executives in this business, is, some actually, it surprises me that people are not better prepared, okay, for this guy, because it's a matter of that, it's not that whether it will happen, it will happen. Like, of course, this year is a little bit harder this time around because, there's some other things in the mix, like the inflation rates are higher, there's a macroeconomic situations going on, there's a war on that we have to worry about. It's a global economy, right? We're not insulated in the US. And so we have to think about all of those things. And also where, the job rates are higher, the inflation's higher, but we can see already, right, that there is a silver lining coming. You can already see from the last 2 weeks, things are adjusting in terms of the rates, and the rates are still high. It's still a purchase money market, and but still, it's better. It's trending around 6.5, right? And yesterday, I was speaking to my economist friends at Freddie Mac and the MBA, and they were telling me that it may even, there's the opportunity that it might even go down to 5.5, second part of next year. So, and the purchase volumes are up slightly today, right? You can see it. So I think, again, things are starting. It is still going to be a tough year, but it is not as gloom and doom as a lot of people believe. I don't believe that. I think that there is good opportunities for improvement and for us to stay focused. And fortunately, I have I'm grateful that I get to work with a lot of leaders and executives in this industry that are forward thinkers. I think that's very important. And there's only very few things that can really make a difference in this industry now. Technology is obviously at the core of everything right now, right? And and that's really what I do every day is my waking day is trying to figure out how do I all the investments that I am making and Tavant is making. And as you know, we've been in this business for 23 years now, right? Is that how do I make sure that makes a difference? And we position our lenders, whether we're banks, non-banks, mortgage bankers, fintechs, how do we help them better position themselves when the market turns, which we know it will turn.
Right. I think, people in the mortgage industry always need to stay focused on, it's a long game, right? I mean, you're not in this, it can't be just transactional for today. This is like, okay, we might go through some rough patches, but to your point, how are we preparing ourselves for, for the future or the next, kind of the recovery from the, the slump that we are in now? How is automation impacting the mortgage industry today?
Big time. I think, one of my pet peeves is if you look at the cost of origination, is still very high, irrespective of all the technology investments that have gone in. So everything we do, right, we focus on how can we sort of make a difference, right? And automation is absolutely key, the core of everything right now. I would say if you see last couple of years, there's been a lot of focus on the experience side of the business, right? Across all channels, whether it be retail, wholesale, correspondent, right, and so on. Now a lot of focus is on what I call is the mid office and the back office, right? How do we leverage technology to drive true automation, or even intelligent automation, not just automation? And how do we reduce cost? How do we drive efficiencies? How do we increase underwriter productivity? How do we close loans faster? How do we, get a consumer into their homes that they can afford, right, sooner than later? So it's a win-win game for everybody. So I think automation is in the center of it, and you see some of the investments that Tavant is making. We launched a platform called Touchless Lending, you might be familiar with, and that is at the heart of that is automation. We have taken the processes into components, and we're automating it in a very open fashion, not in a closed fashion, so that lenders can take advantage of certain components on the platform or the entire platform if they choose to. And our platform is very open, that we work with a lot of other stakeholders in the industry, right, who participate in that platform to enable some of those objectives for the mid office and the back office. So I think I truly believe that to really drive a compelling experience, consumer experience in the front end, you have to transform not just your front end, your mid office, not your front office only, your mid office and your back office, right? So that's really where I think automation plays a key role, the whole area. Now, if you're familiar with Tavant, I'll say that we are a diversified company, right? We're not just in the mortgage business. We're in the retail business, in the manufacturing business, we're in the media business, right? And so digital has been core to what we have done for all our lives. So we, for example, build lots of the components within Disney Plus, right? We do that every day. We build, large applications for lots of media companies, whether it be New York Times, for retail companies like Grubhub and others, right? Where data and automation and intelligent automation is just key to how business gets done. So we take a lot of that learning and we bring that into the mortgage industry, right? That's where we're a little bit different. We're not just in the industry itself.
Right.
Even though this is core to what we do, we take all those learnings, and those are now more important than ever. A lot of people talk about AI, ML. Well, if you really lift the cover and look under the hoods, it'd be interesting to find out how are they really using it. Okay, we are using it. We're actually putting it in action in things like collateral analysis, where we're driving a lot of intelligence into try to automate in an intelligent fashion the whole collateral assessment process to drive greater efficiency and reduce cost in the origination process. So there's other processes like that we are investing in. So that's key. But the key here is it's not just automation for automation's sake, or it's not just automation, it's intelligent automation. What it really makes a difference, right, in the lending process.
Yeah, anything to drive down the cost of origination, right? Because that is just such a key component right now for lenders and for borrowers. I mean, it's it helps borrowers too when the cost to originate a loan is reduced. You touched on it a little bit. Tell us about touchless lending.
So touchless lending is a aspiration we've all had. We all know that there are a cohort of loans that when we look at, especially if you look at their standard, non-complex, agency conforming type of loans, that we can triage loans upfront in the process, and we should be able to take a certain portion of it, put it through a more of a expedited path, if I may call it that, or a fast path, and that's what touchless does. Touchless lending it actually we look at we take the process, right, and we divvy it up in terms of documents. I call it docs to data. Without data, nothing happens, right? So how do you do that? Right? How do you take data out of the documents? This is a very highly document intensive industry, as we all know, right? And then we assess income, we assess assets, we assess credit, we assess collateral, we look at title, we look at anti-fraud measures that we can put into the process, conditions management, how do we ensure data consistency through the platform. So it's really really taking the process and taking it into the entire process from the point of the lead, right, all the way through to clear to close of the loan. We've taken that apart, and that's what that platform does. And then we have now infused intelligence across all those components, right, to see how do we drive efficiency into all those pieces that then overall in itself provides a lift from cost and efficiency perspective. But as you start to sort of glue them together, right, those benefits only increase as we go. But it also provides lenders with the choice of what they feel is relevant to them. Not everything would be relevant to everybody, and we're building it in such a way, and it's built. We have right now 21 customers on it. We have about 8 customers that are in contracts as we speak, and we have 13 prospects as we're talking to. That's over 42 customers that are on that platform, and it's rapidly spreading because it is truly something that can reduce the cost and increase efficiencies in the process, which then ultimately, right, improves the overall experience for the people in the front end, whether it be salespeople or processors and loan officers or brokers, and of course, ultimately the consumer. So that's really what touchless lending is.
That's fantastic. I love innovations in the industry. I love hearing about the things that are happening in the market that are really creating efficiencies, but for both lenders and for borrowers. So thank you for kind of digging into that a little bit more. Tavant is unique, and you have mentioned this, in that you're not just in the mortgage space. You have many verticals, different industries that you have been that you provide services to. So what can the mortgage industry learn from other industries about tech adoption?
Yeah, so that's a very important thing. I've been wrestling with that since the time I built and rolled out Loan Prospector in the market many years ago. And I also spent a number of years working, I was a realtor with Fannie Mae as well. So there's a lot of innovation that gets put in, but at the end of the day, if it's not adopted, it doesn't make a lot of difference. Right? We saw that with many things that a lot of people have invested a lot of money into. So, it's you have to think about usability. You have to think about what really makes a difference, that everybody that's involved in that food chain, right, that's using the technology, right? And the other thing is, what happens is in this industry, there's so much fragmentation of the technology, right? That's one of the things we learn is that's why you can't just put blinders on and say, I'm just going to focus on title. I'm just going to focus on collateral. I'm just going to focus on the front end. I'm just going to focus on underwriting.
All has to.
It's got to come together. It's got to come together. And from a lender's perspective, what happens? Just put yourself in their shoes. They get hammered with all these things, and these are all learnings we see from working with the Disney folks and others, and we see it, right? Is that we have to help them, sort of advise them on how to bring it all together, right? And we can't just throw all this stuff at them and rely on them to sort of put it all together. It just doesn't work. It just does not work. So that's why we're committed to looking at it a lot more holistically and making the investments required to make sure that even if you want to leverage certain components of the technology that's out there, but it fits in with the ecosystem that the lenders and other stakeholders are using to make it work. If you look at our first innovation, and this came from our learnings from other industry, right, is this industry has a lot of legacy technology, a lot of it, and I've seen it over the years, okay? And is that architectures are very important. It's not just about functionality. Architecture, if you don't have the right architecture, it is very hard to adapt to changes in the industry, changes in regulatory environment, changes in the demands of the consumer, and so on. So that's a clear learning we've had from day one, because we're a products and a services company, right? We're not just a product company. We're not just a services company. So we provide a more holistic service to our customers. That's why a lot of our customers like to work with us, because they don't have to have lots of other people in the mix, lots of cooks in the kitchen trying to put together the same dish. It's very complicated. So one of our learnings is that we must have the key enablers in the technologies we build or we bring to market, so that it is easier to use, it is easier to consume, it is easier to adopt. If it doesn't get adoption, it's a waste and it's a loss for everybody in the equation. It just doesn't work. So adoption is key, absolutely key. So customer success to us is absolutely critical. We leverage a lot of tools and approaches to ensure that we understand what the adoption hurdles are and how we work with our customers to help enable them and to work with their customers, right? Because our business model is not to work directly with the consumers, right? We work with lenders who are our customers, who then, right? But we understand that we have to understand their customers better, right? To be able to better serve the lending community. right? So adoption, so in our minds, adoption is right up there, right? Is
Right.
Without that, it's just it's sort of a failure.
Yeah, the companies can invest in all sorts of technology, but if we're not, if we're not focused on that adoption and, like you say, creating a product that ultimately benefits the borrower, but you're educating the lenders on why it's so beneficial to the borrowers and can help, help them create happy clients. I mean, that's what everybody wants, right?
Right, and then what they say, no one left behind, right? So, but again, it gets down to the mission of everybody deserves to be in a home. I qualify it by saying everybody deserves to get a home that they can afford. There's a difference between the two. So
Right.
that's one thing. And the second thing is, I think, in my mind, there's a big difference between a house and a home, right? There's a difference between a loan and a house and a home. It takes a lot to make a house a home.
Right.
So because we're a diversified company, right, we have lots of expertise in the IoT side of the business, in the manufacturing side, and where we work with customers like Carrier, Ingersoll Rand, and others, where they provide all your home appliances and everything else. We think broadly. We said, okay, this is great. We get a loan. That's great. That's just step one. Then once the consumer gets into the house, what is going to take for that consumer to make the house a home? Then you start thinking about all these other things. Just imagine yourself that you do, right? What you go through as you try to make your house a home, and then how do we, through that process, drive loyalty back to the lender that they've done business with, right? So they continue to have that strong relationship. So we have a much more of a holistic view of home ownership than I think a lot of other technology providers in this market.
Yeah, agreed. And it shows through. And again, thank you for all that you and Tavant do to help the California MBA. I know that you're very involved with the national MBA as well. And we're always thrilled to have you as part of our programs. And thank you, Hassan, for being a guest on today's Connect episode.
Thank you, Susan, for the opportunity. And anytime, love to have meet you in person anytime soon.
We'll make that happen this year. Maybe at Mortgage Innovators Conference, we'll make that happen this year.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
And thank all of you for joining us today. To have access any of our Connect podcast episodes, you can follow us on our YouTube channel. We're also available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. That's it for this week, and we'll see you next time on Connect.